Happy Aloha Friday, tribe! Thanks for tuning in. As mentioned, I have a special guest speaker. We have Diana Gremillion. She is a life coach and she is coming on to talk to us about body positivity, and she's going to share with us her own personal experience and just such great stuff. Diana is a life coach and motivational speaker who helps business owners manifest the life of their dreams. So after she struggled with her body image and issues most of her life, she has finally mastered a way to love the skin she's in without having to, use just sheer will and determination to overcome this pattern of yo-yo dieting and extreme exercise, which we all know. I know firsthand myself as well that it could be very, just a vicious cycle to get out of. So today she's going to share with us her story. She's also going to talk a little bit about her business, and she's going to leave us with two digestible strategies that we can actually start implementing right away. With she's going to share 2 simple mindset tips. So we're just waiting for Diana to come on, and we'll see where she is. Hello, Diana. Okay. Hi. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Are you recording this as well, just in case?
I can try. I don't think I can.
Oh, you can? Okay, then I will be sure to save the video. It's just so, it's like the way they changed it is like one little quick thing you got to hit when you end your live. And if you miss it and close it, it doesn't save it. So,
Oh,
so I want to be able to post it because some of the gals are at all different time zones. And so I'm going to go ahead and post it. But I started with the intro. So I welcomed you and gave your little bio. So welcome. And I'll just let you take over.
yeah. I would say that right now, where I am in terms of my feelings on my body is like I have never loved my body more. And I feel confident when I go to the beach, and I feel good in my own skin, and I wear clothes that make me feel really good. And just a few years ago, that idea, that life seemed completely impossible for me. I all I knew was yo-yo dieting, going through these periods of time where I would like eat basically nothing. I would only eat like salads or, just drink lots and lots of water or be very restrictive, and I would lose all this weight, but it was never sustainable because I was really punishing myself, and so I would go through these phases of like, losing a lot of weight, gaining a lot of weight, and I had this like vicious cycle that I was stuck in terms of my food. I had like messed up relationships with food, and it also showed up in like how I felt about my body. I hated what I looked like. I hated my fat arms, my fat thighs, like all parts of my body. I didn't like myself. And so everything that I was doing, what I didn't realize was everything I was doing was in this place where it was coming from punishment. It was coming from this place of negativity. I had to change because I wasn't good enough. I had to change because what I saw in the mirror wasn't enough. And having those kind of feelings, I don't know if anybody else has ever had those kind of feelings where they look in the mirror and feel like, just horrid about what they see. I know there are some women I've coached who even just have difficulty looking at themselves, and it's an incredibly painful and difficult thing to ever really transform your body in a long-term way if you never first change the thinking. So, one of the mistakes that I see many women make is they focus all on the action, right? They focus on the exercise plan, or they need this new detox or this cleanse, or they need keto to lose the weight. And it's like, no, the very first thing, the very first place that you need to work on is on yourself. You
Right.
need to work on, how you feel, because if you feel bad eating that salad, if it feels lame to eat the salad like it's punishment in some way for you, then you're never going to do it long term. It's
Right.
something you do to punish yourself. That's what you
Exactly.
associate a salad with. So it's never going to feel good. And that means as well as that the way that you feel about it coming into your body feeling like it's a healthy thing, it feels like torture.
Right.
That's what
Yes.
you're telling your body it is. And so that is never long term. That's never sustainable. And that was why I kept falling into these patterns of extreme eating. I can restrict what I'm having. I can exercise like crazy, but that never lasted, because even when I got the results, even when I lost the weight, I still wasn't happy with my skin.
Right.
I still didn't like what I saw in the mirror. So, so many times, I'm sure, Leanne, you see this all the time with women where they're like, oh, I just need to be this weight, right? And it's like,
Yes.
well, when you were that weight, did you feel really happy in your body? And a lot of times I find when I ask my clients that question in my coaching practice, they'll tell me, no, like that was just when I looked good.
Right.
And it's like, if you love your body and feel good in your body at that point, like the weight doesn't actually matter, because you'll
Right.
get to that point and you'll feel miserable.
Exactly.
So what
Yes.
it is about is like, what are you thinking and what are you feeling about yourself in terms of body positivity? It's not just about what you're doing that's positive, but thinking positive about your body, and then also like seriously feeling positive. We talked a little bit about like, I know a lot of women sometimes they struggle with like looking in the mirror, right? Like
Right.
they out
Mhm.
criticizing themselves. Um,
Yes.
and like I know what that feels like, where you're just everything you see is just not good enough, and all those different ways. But when even in working with you, like working with a trainer was such a huge shift for me, because up until then it was like, oh yeah, I can exercise, I can do all these things by myself, but I wasn't investing in my health. I thought that because I knew about exercise, I didn't have to do I like that was enough. But there's something different about like choosing to work with somebody and like invest in your health and invest in yourself that makes it really different. And like you get the accountability, you get all these other pieces. You can like, I mean, it helped me so much in seeing still some of my own, like food issues or food things. And I think that that's one of the things that really is helpful when you work with a coach, when you work with somebody who's helping you see your stuff. Um, yeah, I mean, I think
Yeah.
that's important.
I think, yes. I think that, most of my ladies, when I was first starting out as a very green trainer, I was, you think if you do A and you do B, you get C. And I had a lot of clients get tremendous results by following the diet and doing the exercise. But what I kept bumping up against was after about 3 months of all this work and all these results, my ladies, they were never able to stick with it. They would rebound, they would regain, something would happen, life would happen, and we would always start back over. And as a trainer and a coach, you want results for your clients. So I kept banging my head up against the wall and thinking like, what is this? Because we're all so different. And what I really realized was that exercise, my part of the deal, was such a small part of a bigger picture. And that's why I had developed the 3M method, starting with the mindfulness piece. So we actually go through the 5 whys in terms of why, when a client comes to me, it's always, 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 I want to lose weight. It's always. I have yet. It's very rare. Some of my older clients, who has a lot of life experience, been there, done that. They'll come with the, I want to move better. I want to wake up. I want to keep up with my grandkids, but it's always lose weight. And when we drill down using the 5 whys, we really figure out it's not the weight is the after. It's the after effect math. The real reason why they want to hire me as a coach is because, I've had ladies who are trying to conceive. I've had ladies who have just, recently lost a parent and they're grieving in a way. And so they decided that now it kind of in their own terms that they realize they want to take better care of themselves because, when you deal with death and life and all that. So yeah, it's definitely, and I think what you're saying hits home, which is why I wanted to bring you on, was because so many women feel exactly the same, like what you just said, like even myself. And I think a lot of people also don't get it. I had just kind of worked on my bio, and there's such a different types of women. There were women who were always thin and never had a weight problem, and then maybe they had kids or they focused on career, and so they go on the 12-week plan and they lose a bunch of weight and they bounce back really fast, right? Or we have those ladies that were lifetime athletes, and then they fell out of it because, you know, they did focus on family or career, and they do that 30-day cleanse and they bounce back fast, right? But it's really different with someone who has truly struggled with a body issue and just sort of like a real deep self-hate of being in their own skin. That is powerful, and that is something that, you know, people, if you don't get, you know, that sometimes some people don't get it because they've never been in it. So I totally feel you. You know, I think we talked a little bit about I talked to you about your food narratives when we touched on that piece of it, and you realize that really taps into way back when that shaped your view of your body, and why you punish your body, and how you view food, and why you use food to torture yourself, you know. So it was just, we get it.
Yeah, but I really resonate with that point. It all goes back to things that happened years before, where you don't even realize that some of these messages you internalized to mean something because you're so young while you're forming some of these beliefs that, like, they're not even accurate. They're just your perception from, you know, a 5-7-year-old mind. And so, like, there's so much of those issues that are rooted in that time, and because we've lived with them for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, we don't see them anymore. They just seem normal, and they're deeply embedded beliefs within us about who we are and what food is. You know, like if you think about it, women who say things like, oh yeah, like I eat like ice cream and it just like slides right off my body, like they're telling their body how ice cream is going to react in their body.
Right.
You know, like the things that we say about ourselves, whether it's our body, about ourselves in any way, our body starts to internalize those messages and believe them, whatever it is we say. And that's why for me, one of the exercises I'll often give clients who struggle with body image issues is like literally staring into a mirror at their own eyes and telling themselves, I love you. And the reason I give that as an exercise is because the very first time I ever did that, I couldn't hold my own gaze.
Right.
You know, when I realized how much I didn't love myself, that I couldn't hold my own eyes. And so, like, I think that there's something about having that kind of experience that, and then like starting to work through that, and like being able now to like look at myself in the mirror and like smile and say, I love you. That's so different. But that comes through like the repetition and like the choice to change from the mindset, not just the action. Because, you know, like these people who fall off after 3 months, you know, like, or like it's because there's deeper seated longer term issues that are behind what's going on. And I love that you're into the why of like, why do you feel this way? Because I think so much about it for me in changing my body was like getting away from that weight.
Yes.
And like really starting to see what I would look like and what I would feel like if I actually loved my body. Like, what would that be like? You know, and that was what I worked with. What would I love to feel like in my skin? And I remember, you know, this was back when I lived in New York. Remember, I hated my legs. Like, I never wore shorts. And so I was like, wow, you know, I would love if I like felt comfortable wearing shorts. And like, if I went to the beach and took my shirt off and didn't want to just like hide and like, you know, like that had always been my experience in life. And so my dream, like what I wanted to feel and be, was this person who like would go to the gym, not to the gym, to the beach, and like feel good in my, like not even think about taking my shirt off. Like it was just so natural and okay. And like, it took me, that was a goal at a time for me. And now that it's like a reality, I'm like, wow, you know, that took so much, that seemed so hard at the time, but it really took a dedication to like choosing to say things to myself about loving myself and getting clear on how I wanted to feel. And sometimes, you know, taking off the shirt, not feeling confident yet, but starting to put on that energy of, this is who I want to be. I want to be someone who's confident in this.
I think that's a good point. I don't mean to interrupt. I think that's a good point, since we're touching on it right now, that I think when some people think, oh, body positivity, and when we talk about it, we are saying, oh, you're going to love yourself all the time and you're going to be happy with what you're working with all the time. And that's definitely not the case. I would imagine you would agree that we all have our ups and downs, but the overall trend is, it's what kind of energy, like you said, are you putting out there?
Yeah.
That internal, I always talk about the internal noise, the voices in your head. I call it, like, I didn't term it, but I always use your inner critic, right? And then also, like you said, surfing that messy, that uncomfortable feeling of the things you want to do, like you say, going to the beach and feeling carefree, or wearing the shorts and feeling carefree, and going through that messy period where you're taking a little small nudges and the steps to do those things, and then realizing that once you come through the other side, that it wasn't a big deal, like, right?
Yeah.
Like, you were fine, you came out of it fine, right? And how much better do you feel
Hard
now that you're doing the thing?
Yeah.
Like, how much weight off your shoulders, right? Yeah. So how do you do that then? How would you give, I know you had mentioned 2 mindset tips.
Yeah.
So, like, what would be the first, if someone is in our boat, same, like, I feel, I remember, like, in 3rd grade, and even though I wasn't like the biggest, I would get teased a lot.
Yeah.
And I couldn't understand it. Like, why would people tease me? I'm not even the biggest kid in school. And I would remember I would go home and, like, take off my shirt and look at my stomach and grab my stomach and think, like, oh God, I wish I had a knife to just cut this part out of my stomach. Yeah. And I remember, like, every, like, full moon, like, just wishing, like, oh, I would wake up skinny. And then I didn't wake up skinny. I was like, oh my God, you know? So it's all these things that are embedded, right? And if you, like, like, local style, if you have a local mom, like, it's hard to, like, I eventually hope to get to a point where I can have that conversation with my mom about that kind of stuff. But I know I'm not ready to, because at one point, you know, they're like, get over it. You know, we were like, why you take it so serious? Why do you take it so to heart, right? And there's a disconnect there. So, yes. So we know that we're not trying to say that you're going to be all rah all the time, because it's just, you know, it's just like life. It can be messy, but what you're saying, you just have to start somewhere.
Yeah. And my 2 tips on it were kind of wrapped in, but, like, to really highlight them. The first is to get really clear on what it would actually look like and feel like if you loved your body. Like, the place where it's difficult for you to imagine that but, like, what you would really love, like, to feel confident in your own skin. Like, you want to start to have a clear image of, like, what would that be like? How would I feel if I was doing that? So that's, like, you know, creating a vision, basically, what it is.
Like a vision board.
Exactly.
Sort of, like, but in your head, or even write it down.
Yeah, but, like, you create it like an experience in your mind.
So, you know, how you would feel if you kind of, like you said, how would you feel if you loved your body completely? Like, how would you feel? What would you be doing?
What would you be wearing?
What would you be wearing? If you could have just a body that you loved, and so write it down.
Yeah, so, like,
that's great.
Right? Like, I saw myself in shorts. I saw myself taking my shirt off and feeling comfortable. And before I was comfortable, and this is a second tip. So before you're comfortable, you're starting to do and be the person that you want to be. So meaning,
that's
right,
the second tip.
Second tip. So you need to know what it is that you want. And then, you know, you need to start to step into that, even if it's not comfortable, right? So like before, for me to get to a place where I feel comfortable taking off my shirt at the beach and comfortable in my body, I had to take my shirt off at the beach and not feel comfortable all the time.
Yeah.
You know, and in those moments like that, you're starting to become that person. And it, you know, for me, I would do a lot of, like, self-love work and, like, really encouraging myself in that moment to be like, look, you're getting better. You're loving yourself more, you know, and really reminding yourself, like, this is what you really want. So, like, living into that in whatever level you're at. If you're at level 1, that's fine. You know, you're getting to level 10 as long as you're better than where you were yesterday in loving yourself, you're doing a good job.
That's such a great tip, Diana. You know, because we hear that, I hear that a lot. You know, I mean, even myself personally with those issues, it's always like not feeling, my ladies not feeling comfortable in a bathing suit, not even a one piece. You know, they're wearing like full on long sleeve, like capris at the beach, like they're wearing Lulu capris at the beach. You know, because they're not comfortable, or and stuff like that. So the second tip is like, so they go to the beach in shorts and they
Yeah.
start there. But you're saying is, yeah, it's not going to feel good. It's going to feel scary and anxiety, and it's going to feel like shitty. But you're saying surf that feeling.
Yeah, and connect to the vision of why you're doing this. Like, remember,
The first tip.
yeah. So the two are very connected. The first is to create that image, the vision,
Yes.
and then to live into it, remembering what it is that you're ultimately creating. And as long as you're moving closer to that vision in your action, you're doing a good job. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens with time and with consistency. And as long as you're seeing yourself get better, that's the focus.
Time and consistency.
It's like, no, if you're at least overall doing better, you're doing better. Keep going.
Right.
Keep
I
loving
love that. It's so relevant too, to like, you know, our work is so connected in terms of what I do in terms of helping people, you know, maintain a routine of fitness and health. And I always say, you know, consistency trumps intensity all the time. We just have to be consistent. You know, we just have to do a little bit most days of the week. And when we talk about the food piece with my folks, when I use my moderation 365 practice, and they're all scared to death of trying to keep, one of our exercises are exposure therapy, which keep their trigger food in the house, because a lot of them keep the trigger foods out of the house, because for them it's like, it's the same, I can't have ice cream in the house, I'm going to eat the whole gallon, I don't keep that stuff in here. No. And that's not a way to live either, because it's like, you're going to go to places, there's going to be ice cream, you're going to have a family, your husband, somebody's going to want ice cream. Let's focus on how do we get you to be around ice cream. Have a little bit of the ice cream every day. And they're scared. They're definitely scared to have a little bit of the ice cream, a little bit of their trigger food every day. And I said, you know what, though? What happens if you do and you feel you can always stop, right? And you can always take off the next day and not eat any ice cream. Or we can always get rid of the ice cream the next day. That is kind of my tip for them, where you can always go back one step if you feel like it's too overwhelming. So I would imagine if they go to the beach, let's say, and their thing is shorts, they want to wear shorts to the beach. So they go to the beach in shorts and they're feeling like, you know, they ride it out for a little bit and then it just gets too overwhelming. Then go change, right? Put back on the capris.
It's good putting on the shorts just for those 5 minutes.
Yes, exactly.
You know, that is such a win, you know, like I really feel into the shorts, like all this stuff, because I really felt this.
Yeah.
Now it's truly amazing to be like, to not even think about it, you know, right. Like a point of gratitude. Like I still write that as a point of gratitude for myself, that because every now and then it'll hit me, you know, like I don't even think about that stuff anymore.
Right.
And that doesn't come overnight, but it comes with, I wore the shorts the one day, whatever, I'm gonna wear shorts again, you know, like then you forgot that you wore the shorts all of a sudden.
Yes.
You know,
yeah.
And like you throw out all your pants and all you wear is shorts. You know, like it's amazing who you can be and what you can do if you just start to face the fear a little bit, even with like the exposure therapy, right? Like, because it's us, like, even with the fear, energizing it and saying, no, get away, no shorts, no ice cream,
right.
No food, that actually creates a negative reaction to it. So then when you're like forbidden feelings in it,
yes.
and
it heightens all the feelings. A lot of people don't realize that, and that's what I tell them that's why I'm so, you know, I just got to the point in my career where, you know, if you're looking to lose a bunch of weight for an event, or, you know, 30 days or a college reunion or something, I'm not your trainer. You know, I've stopped doing that just because I've seen the damage and experienced the damage personally over the years of dieting. And what I try to teach my tribe is that, you know, when you start to put food on these pedestals where it's either so triggering to you, it's so illicit, you put it way up here, or it's so restrictive that you've eliminated it, so you put it way up here because you can't have it, your biology and your physiology is going to counter that, and that it's going to spike, and you're going to want those things even more because you've put them so high up, right? So if we don't do that, we just knock it down, knock it off, then it'll lose its allure, and it'll just be ho hum, and it'll just be like a regular another day, regular another food, right? Regular another shorts or whatever.
Yeah, like we've all had favorite foods or favorite somethings that you have too much of, and then you get over it. You know?
You like don't want it, right, for a week. That's what I try to tell them. Like, look, your thing is chocolate truffles. You have a chocolate truffle every day, and like, no, I can't. Please trust me. Let's try this practice. Let's try 3 days. Let's try 5 days. After 7 days, they're so sick of chocolate truffles, and it's like, okay, next trigger food, and then we just go down the list. Next trigger thing. But I also feel it's important to surrounding yourself with like-minded people who get it. Because I do know that, like for my husband example, who's never had a weight issue in his life, was always athletic, never had a food issue at all, never had parents commenting, normal eating, working out human. And I'm like in awe of that. I went away jealous of that because I watch him eat cookies, and he's not counting the cookies he's eating. He'll eat the half a bag, and I still catch myself to this day, like, really, are you gonna eat the half a bag of cookies? And he's like, yeah, I'm fucking eating the half a bag of cookies. Why? And I'm like, I still feel like a little like, how dare you be able to eat a half a bag of cookies and not even feel anything? I'm like, even though I've done a lot of work, it always, that little kid or that little thing always lives in you that's always like ready to creep out, right? So I really think it's about, like, that's why I loved having you on to talk about this today. And just because I feel like it's just starting the conversation, speaking about it more, giving people actionable steps that they can start, because it's such a common thing that's not really talked about. And I think when we do talk about it, a lot of people think, how dare you love your body? They don't say it out loud, but they kind of like, there's a sort of like a stigma where if you don't meet a standard, or you're not what a person's ideal is, and you feel, and you have body love and you have body positivity, that's like shame on you too. So it's about just finding your people, keep finding your tribe.
Yeah, I think that's so important. And I think, like surrounding yourself around more people who are positive is part of it. Like the more body positivity you can surround yourself with, the better. And also loving those people who don't get it, because there was a time where we didn't get it. You know what I mean? And so it's okay for other people not to understand it yet, and to be getting there. So like, I think that's another important piece as you evolve and grow in awareness, to always remember you were in that, like I was in that place where I hated my body. And so if I see somebody else who says those things, like I want to give them compassion, because I remember when I thought that way too. And like that I think is another piece of the healing that just is very profound for us when we realize like we need to forgive our past selves too for not knowing better.
Right. Yeah, that's the hard piece, right?
Yeah.
That's my I'm a grudge holder. I'm working on it. So do you have with this whole topic in hand, do you have an event coming up or a coaching program coming up, or?
Oh, I don't have any programs right now. Actually, everything is booked. If people are interested, they can find out about a wait list. But anybody who would be interested in getting more clear on what a body that they would love looks like, because what I find is most women, most people are clear on what they don't want, and they have way less clarity on what they do want. So if anybody wants a little bit more clarity just on what they really would love for themselves in terms of their health and their body, I would love to do a free 30-minute consultation for them. And I can give you what should I do? Should I give you a link for that?
Yeah. Do you have can you put it in the comment section perhaps? Yeah. And then gang, if you're watching and interested in that free 30-minute consult with Diana, we do have her as Successful Life Strategies. That is her handle for her business. So you can always DM her there. And your website is the same. Well, you're going to put the link in there.
Yeah. It's actually, the one I'm going to give you guys is actually going to be a 60-minute just as a special gift.
Oh, thank you. So we're actually getting a link, gang, for a 1 hour coaching session for Body Breakthrough.
Yeah.
With Diana. That's great. Do we have any questions? We have a couple of viewers. Share us on. And Fry Bread Indian joined. Hello, hello. Happy Aloha Friday. If you have any questions, put it in the comment box, gang. But yeah, it's been quite the evolution for me in terms of training women and just realizing wow, a lot of women battle the same issues that we've had, and they fall into this, like you said, a vicious cycle of yo-yo dieting and extreme exercise. And they're set that that's the way, that the only way that they're going to get what they want, which is to be happy in their bodies, is to lose weight. And the only way they think they can do that is through punishment.
Yeah. And what I'm saying and what we're talking about is like, do the thing you want to do in your body now in some level, you know, like if it's shorts, maybe you wear capri pants first and then you wear like knee high and then you go shorter, whatever. But like, just always take the step towards where you want to be, really. And again, like the extreme diet and the exercise, it only works to a point. It only result that lasts short term. So if you want a long-term result, you have to shift the bigger stuff, the thinking, like really start to find a way to love yourself more, because outside of that, you're always just going to hate your body. And when you constantly hate on your body and it's doing all this stuff to change for you and it's not enough, eventually it's going to say, you know, screw it, it's not enough, I'm whatever, and you're going to end up giving
It's awesome. Okay, so just to recap, first tip is to create a vision board, so to speak, of what your body that you love, that you would love to have, would look like, how you would feel, what would you be wearing. Just really get specific on that visualization or that detail. And then the second tip is to actually, can you repeat that again? To actually do the thing on that vision board.
into it. So
okay, good.
Wear clothes to, if they're, you know, if they're swimming more, if they're doing what they want to do, start to do more of the things that you would be doing if you really loved your body. You know, saying I love you to yourself and continuing even in that discomfort.
Got it. Well, thanks so much, Diana, for coming on today on a Friday. I'm so happy that we were able to like just listen to you give us like all the good stuff.
Yeah, well, this was so much fun. Thank you so much for hosting, Leanne. Don't forget to hit save.
Don't forget what?
To hit save.
Yes, I'm gonna do it, gang. I'm gonna hit save. I'm gonna make sure I take my time about it. But thanks for everybody joining again. We'll post right after we get off the live, and we'll have all Diana's details on the live. So thanks so much, guys. Bye. Have a good day.